welcome to our show, Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and wow, look out, world! I have not one, but two amazing, legendary casting directors, CSA casting directors. We have today Rosen and Kimberly Skyrme, and we're going to talk about Casting Confidential. Let's give a super warm welcome to my favorite gals I'm so proud of. Rose, hey Rose, hey Kimberly, how are you?
Hello.
Hey Jay, it's great to be here.
Yes, so
Thanks for
happy to be
having
here.
us.
How are you?
Wonderful.
Good. But we should actually just kick it off a little bit that all three of us know each other because of Clubhouse. So thank
That's
heavens for
true.
COVID and Clubhouse.
That's
I was
well,
just going to say that.
okay.
One of my questions was, how did you meet? But we did all meet in Clubhouse. Thank you,
Mhm.
Kimberly. That's a wonderful way to
True.
start the show. And I am so thankful. Rose, you were in Hollywood Chit Chat. You had your own room casting, and you gave free advice. Kimberly, you were there, loyal,
And
and
it continues.
and it continues. And now we're going to talk about
I ended.
casting. Yes, casting confidential. So, also, Kimberly, I just want to mention you're a producer and a director, and I have the honor of working with you at Butterfly Films. I love it. It's the highlight of my life. I'm so thankful and grateful to you. And I adore you and love you, and you inspire me, and you make me grow. So I wanted to share that.
Challenge me to grow also, so thank you.
Oh, bless your heart. Love you. And Rose, I love you. I love your pioneering spirit, your blazing trails for women. You're an inspiration. You're positive. You love to support women like I do, and Kimberly does. And it's such a wonderful thing. So I just want to talk about Casting Confidentials. Now in the third season, you've been going 2 seasons, and you're going to have notable stars like Chandler Riggs, Pat Healy, Danny Joles, and others. But we're going to talk about even more of the fun things that you're doing, and the interesting ways that you're involving audience participation. And now that you're on YouTube, so let's talk about Casting Confidential. Rose, tell us about what it is. How did you come up with it? How did Kimberly become one of your hosts? Tell us all the good stuff, all the things.
Well, I mean, like all that you said, we started in Clubhouse and it was a way to pass the time of COVID and I mean, not exaggerating when I say it exploded. I mean, we'd have a couple thousand people in our talks every week. And so in Clubhouse, I randomly decided, oh, every Monday night we'll have like a casting director meeting. We'll have a club called Casting Directors and we'll all get together. And many came and many listened and many gave questions and it ensued from there. And then Clubhouse went kookaloo and and so I begged out and brought that to Zoom and then realized, well, if I don't do a podcast, that's just goofy. So
Because
so
because everybody's doing a podcast. We have to, right? I mean,
yeah,
celebrities are doing podcasts,
great.
right, Rose?
Great. I like to think I was ahead of them,
You
but
are.
I'm already in season 3. But yeah, so I figured it out. And yes, thank you. I do accept that pioneer moniker at this point because people keep saying that to me, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just doing like the next thing, which is kind of what my career is built on.
Yes.
It's like the next thing, like I want to make
You're an
money and
early adopter
here.
to all of these things. Early
Right.
adopter, adapter, that you've always been a front runner on all the technology and all that kind of thing as a
Yeah,
casting.
I like it. It's interesting. I want to help the actors. I personally, it's not even about the actors, although it is. But for me and for the other casting directors, it's about getting together and talking with each other. That was what it has been built on, and that's what it continues to. And now we've invited celebrities into our moment and we talk with them because I want to know more about the actor casting director relationship. Also, the whole show is built on let's not bore Rose. So
I love that.
So it's just these few things that make it palatable and interesting, and people around the world are listening and they're into it. I am telling you, we're at like the top 1.5% of podcasts worldwide on, and I can't remember where I saw that, but I have a screenshot. And so,
Let's
and
go.
yeah, YouTube took off immediately this morning. So we are talking the day, June 2nd, which is the day that our season 3 dropped. And it is the first time that we dropped on YouTube with video. And which is a whole nother thing. And
Yes, for 5 years we just could talk and share, and we didn't have to
yeah,
brush our
like in
hair.
your
And now we have to pull
nightgown.
it together.
Right? And we didn't have like these extra stars coming in. So, like, all of a sudden, not only, like happenstance, I became a creator. And then happenstance, I became a producer. And then, interestingly enough, the casting directors are the number one people that say to me, "How'd you get Lamorne Morris on your show?" And I'm like, literally, isn't that what we do for a living?
Yes, yes.
Like, why is that a question? I asked, and he said yes. And, and yeah, he's a great guy. It was a great episode. That was in season 2. I also want to just say in season 3, we have Danielle Pinnock coming on. I'm really excited. I'm just closing that deal, as we do because we're casting directors. But
Oh, I put my hand up. Sorry.
Yes, I'm
anyway,
working to close our date for Johnny Pemberton, so we have some great people coming. And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah. So much, and
Kimberly,
I've
so great
taken
stuff.
way too much time explaining about that. But I'm charged. I think it's,
Me
you
too.
know, last comment, and I swear I'm going to give it to you and Kimberly. Um, the business is changing so rapidly,
Yeah.
like literally overnight. Every minute, overnight, something else is dropping and changing and being very different
Yes.
than when I started, when Kimberly started. And I say, let's sidle up to it. We cannot sit there and say, "Oh, the world is changing, the sky is falling, the sky is falling." No, we have to say, as we have throughout our careers,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is different. Now what can we do with it?"
Yes.
And we're yeah, and yeah, right now I'm podcasting more than I'm casting, but that's okay. I'm still casting, and and it's different. I talked to the Chinese last week.
Wow.
Wait, I shouldn't say anything. Maybe the government's listening in. I don't know what's going on. But that's the point, is
Yeah.
we have to be open and think about things and see where we're going. I'm done.
Yes, I love it. I love all that you're saying. And yes, yes, and yes, Rose. And if we need to evolve because AI is coming, new technologies, just as you're saying.
Right.
And isn't that right, Kimberly? How we have to embrace these new technologies. Otherwise, if we don't embrace it, we may be left behind. We've got to adapt, right? Kimberly, what's your thoughts?
Absolutely. It's leaning into that technology. I mean, certainly because I am such a people person and a very tactile learner. At first, I hated the Zoom situation of moving away from having people in your room and getting electronic submissions as opposed to stacks and stacks of mail and pictures. But if you don't lean into the new technology and how things are evolving, you will be left behind. And so it was meaning to adapt and leaning into it and finding why it is all so positive. That there certainly was, oh, I'm so much better in the room. Well, in an actual movie or a TV show, you were not standing in people's living rooms. You were on television. So
Yeah.
if you can't capture the casting director and the director in a video forum, then what should make any of us think that
Right.
just because we're great in the room, that is going to translate? So now I really feel that we're in a situation of comparing apples to apples with every person who's auditioning. It's just not that person who's really personable and may have won you over in the room, whereas the person who wasn't as personable might have even been more talented and probably was missing out on a job because we were all hoodwinked by that in-person experience. So I think it's leveled the playing field for actors. And oh my goodness, the number of people that we are now able to see has honestly quadrupled. And I don't think that's an exaggeration
No,
because we
it's not. And
days and
think of it this way: it's quadrupled, and we're only getting half of who we ask. So it's, I mean, and here's the interesting point. The actors are pretty good. They're not
that,
bad.
that you're
They,
finding people who may not have been able to audition otherwise in
yes,
years
I
past.
think I had, and this may be taken wrong, but I think I had worse selections in the room than I do on tape. I
Wow.
really
Well,
do. I think
it
it's
was
such a
so
broader selection of people that
right.
couldn't normally make it, and I could pick them out and ask them. And I think the pool is better. I do.
Well, it's really diversified it for us. And then if we go back to, because we're also talking about casting confidential, it's still all casting, but this gave all of us an opportunity to see how we work the same and how we work different and
Mhm.
how we could collaborate together. Because each casting director is very different in their approach. And I love that actually after our live tapings at the Gasparilla Film Festival, Rose has a friend who is, she's a psychologist. Is it your friend who was
Forbes
observing? How
Forbes
after
is an influencer. She's like an original pitch person, not a psychologist.
But so she evaluated after our performance, I will say in air quotes, how each one of us was dramatically different, but
Oh,
our
that was Brenda.
opposing but complementary. So it
Yeah.
was again so interesting that as we, as a group of four women, had differing views, but they were again all very complementary. It was not combative. And we've been able to, in the old world, we were in our little own silos working away. And this gave us an
Aw.
opportunity to work together, to get to know each other, then turn into collaboration situations, as you mentioned, that as a director and producer, if I'm pulling a project together, while you as a producer are very involved in the CA dollar sign T part of casting, that you can't then also cast a film. Well, having worked so closely with people, of course, now I know I would love, the collaboration with these women and then casting that person who's really a subject matter expert in a certain genre. So it just gave us a lot of opportunities on top of sharing information, sharing how we cast the same and differently to the actors that are listening. We also just got to know each other, which was not something that happened in the past, which was the
Yeah.
biggest joy part of the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we did episodes of each casting director kind of diving deep. Kimberly's was, I called it micro casting, which it was very interesting. It was something, I bestowed upon her. But, Kimberly likes to, pull a lot from what she knows and first and then broaden it, of course, because you can't fill everything, but she does love that tight niche pull right there.
Yeah, it's going
And
back to that personal Rolodex. I'm doing it right
yeah,
now on an independent film. I'm
yeah,
leading with this
yeah,
person who I know and I think is fantastic, and I will broaden it the next stage of people that I know, and then,
right,
put it out to another group of people, but allowing an interesting person to set the
right.
standard by which we're viewing everyone.
Mhm. I
And
love it.
although I have that same kind of Rolodex head, I love a bigger pull of thought-provoking actors from various agents around the country. I love what an agent will show me because it's just, oh, look, I didn't think about that, so that kind of gets my juices flowing, if you will. So different but the same, it's like,
Yeah.
similar results, but different, and
Roadmap.
certainly not exactly similar results because we do all cast a little differently, and you do get something different with each casting director, and you get a lot different if you have a casting director versus not having
I
one.
think so
And
important to mention
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And I think so many productions that we get into the smaller budgets and they forget about a line item for casting, and then they're scrambling and trying to figure it out on their own and casting their friends. And, I say to the young filmmakers, think about it, put the line item in, have the call. The call is always free. I don't know a casting director that charges you to talk about,
Right.
attaching them to your project
Mhm.
and how that works. But also get some money in the bank before
Yeah.
you call the casting director,
Yeah.
because that's just a very, very long process. And unless you're Kimberly and you're part of the production team, casting has we need to get paid,
Yes.
like sign me on to work and have some money so that we could do that. And it may not be, it may just be
Yeah, and it's not
development
necessarily
funds.
all of it up front, but it is a
Right.
deposit of, the
Yeah.
project.
But
So
don't,
something
yeah.
to get it started is important.
Yeah. But we're all in business. And I think, let's keep it that way. Let's keep it
Absolutely.
businessy.
Absolutely. And I love that you touched on actually casting. Wasn't there a famous director saying that casting is the number one thing in a film because it's your
Well,
roles are
I
so
think
important.
that's Scorsese.
Yes, Scorsese. We love Martin Scorsese. And, I admire you so much because you're very important. You're extremely important. You're an integral part of the film production. And I want to raise you up. And I also love how you come together. You both work very well together. I've always been a fan of you, Rose, and I'm just so delighted that Kimberly is working with you. I feel that you're good simpatico. You work really well together. Does that, I think I've said this to you a couple times, Kimberly. I hope I'm not repeating it too
Repeatedly.
much. But I just love that you work together because you work well, so good together. You support each other, and it's so important today for me to women supporting women. And I know that's in your heart, Kimberly and Rose. So I just want to thank you for doing that. And that's what it's all about. We want to uplift each other and support. None of us are perfect. I love how you said we're different. We're all different. We all have we bring these different aspects. All the casting directors are different. They bring them all different aspects together, but you gel together, you work together, you love each other, you support each other. This is what it's all about, right, Rose?
I'm also going to say I love men. I love working with men. I am not sitting here making a list of I need 52 projects, then my next projects with women. That's not for me. I
Okay.
am happy to raise up women. I am happy to raise up men too. I think
Yes.
I feel like it's all very important.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Both
I
sides.
love men.
Both sides. We love men. We love men too. Go ahead, Kimberly. What were we going to
No,
say?
I was going to say, certainly same thing. If I had to say, it's probably if you were to look back at the numbers of how many people have hired me. Well, I'm always elevating women. I
Right.
think it's typically been men who have actually hired me.
Oh,
But and
sure.
hopefully that tide starts to change, just that women are in
Sure.
more hiring positions as
Yes.
Yes.
well.
Yes. So
That's certainly part of it.
so how do celebrities get on Casting Confidential?
We call them. We pick
Okay.
them. That is a hand selected process. Those who have reached out to me haven't gone very far. Uh,
It's a
this is
selection, right?
this
Certainly, if
is
somebody was interested, they could inquire.
they could certainly inquire and it may fit, but to me, I have a thing in my head. I have like, okay, I like this person because this, and this. Maybe I'm a fan. Maybe one of the gals is a fan.
Yeah.
Maybe they've done something remarkable recently. Maybe their career is so long and interesting. I mean, this episode that we just put up with Pat Healy, he's got a 30-year career and he's still young. Um, but he's
Amazing.
just been at it and he's worked. I mean, he drops every name in the book in a 1 hour conversation, every name in Hollywood, and blah, blah, Meryl and Steven and Martin and, like all the people. And it was a great episode. And so, yeah, I think each person I have on the show is really hand selected to
Mhm.
enhance the listener's experience and
Okay.
to have a good show that's interesting, and who we choose to interview that star is also important.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is because it's
And
your
so, as
your
co-host, it's finding which one of
Yeah.
us makes the most sense with.
Right, it's a whole thing, and I've got some special guest co-hosts outside of the casting confidential bubble that we'll be bringing in some great casting directors, and I love it all.
it's
But
wonderful.
I hope to have a little method to my madness. We also have these great mini episodes every other week that have these wonderful tips. We've done some Q&As, and I'm dropping some of those in. So,
Just little secrets here and there, a little bit of the secret sauce of what to do,
yeah.
what not to
Kind
do.
of like seasons 1 and 2, but shorter and just a quick hit for those who need to hear from us every week.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. Where can people listen to Casting Confidential? You mentioned that you're on YouTube. Let's talk about that right now because
See our
it's
little faces
exciting.
on YouTube.
Take it away.
But which that was a fun story, wasn't it? That it just came by accident with Lamorne because you were interviewing him and everybody thought it was so cool that you were on camera because we had been off camera.
Right, right.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, Lamorne just happened, but no, the YouTube was quite intentional for season 3. It
Oh, no,
was
no, I mean,
something.
it kicked off us being on video was
But yeah, but I never put that up on YouTube because that was in season 2. So
yeah.
I had some clips of him on video with this funny little bubble background because I mean, I'm going to be honest here. Uh, we were all audio, so I didn't know what the backgrounds I had in the video were. And I had been playing around with various backgrounds, like these yellow bubbles and, different textures behind us, and then of course we landed on this, which I like a lot. But there, so Lamore was on the yellow bubbles, whatever. And it was also a punchline. And
That's so
but
funny.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you can see it on my Instagram. It's pretty funny.
That is great.
He'll come back and be normal like here. I should put him on season 3. I don't know. I feel like season 4 might be better. We gotta wait, but I know Lamore was the greatest guest. One
He
of the
was great.
greatest guests. Pat was the greatest guest. We had Vicky Thomas last season. We had
Wow.
out Connor
Well, and
Rapp.
Chandler Rigg, I was just such a big fan of, again, getting to hear from somebody who was
Oh, she was very much fangirling
very
the
famous as a
entire episode.
child and then had to now as an adult be talking about a career. So I just found it again fascinating that
Yes.
Yes,
that
yes.
leap
And
from.
that's the whole thing. It's like it's me and then the co-host, and we're you know we're fans, and I
Yeah.
want to talk about that, but I really want to hear what they've done in the audition room over the course of their career and how are
Yeah.
they feeling about it? What's inside of them that, you why are you hating us now? Why are you loving us? What happened? What is happening? How could we as casting directors change? What would be better?
Hmm.
What would be worse? I don't, like I want to know all of it. And so that's once again just trying to, entertain me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also get to know the actors, what they're about. It also
Yes.
helps you both as casting directors
Yes.
and the other co-hosts, and then the audience as well. We get to know, we get to recognize them, get more familiar with them and their backgrounds, and see what they like, and then we can, check them out in upcoming movies and TVs that they star in. So
Yeah.
that is fabulous. You both have blockbuster movies. I just want to touch on you, Rose, for a second. Edward Scissorhands, okay, and huge blockbuster. And now,
Iconic. I don't think it was a blockbuster at all when it came out. It was, moderately okay, I think.
okay,
But
okay,
but I think iconic is the word for that because it just lives on. It's a favorite of people.
yes,
And
it
over
is.
time, I'm sure it's made blockbuster money. I don't really know. But yeah,
How
it's
was
just
that? I think I asked you how you got it, but how often do blockbusters like that come along, and how detailed does it get? Because I do think it's an iconic, classic movie.
well, yeah, you're certainly not alone in that. And it was, I mean, I'm a Florida casting director, and that was the beginning of my career. And I went into business because there was a mean casting director here, and I had some skills that married well, and I figured it out. You could listen to an entire episode that Kimberly interviewed me from season 2 if you want more on that.
Okay.
But we, so I went and interviewed for this. I was 5 months pregnant. I did not tell them this. And I interviewed against the mean casting director. And, and I ended up with the job. And it was like, I mean, I, and also you should know there is not on the job training for casting, right? There is, for us, there was
Now,
no
perhaps, but
training.
back then, absolutely not. Yeah,
There's no training. They just say, you have a
you're a casting
job.
director.
Just do it. And we had to figure it out literally. And each time we're hired, it's a little bit different, right? A commercial is different than a film. Doing, front end talent versus background talent versus data. It's all different. The union changes, every minute. You have to keep up with that on some level. So yeah, you just had to figure this stuff out. So yeah, I just had to figure out, and I ran an open call for these neighbors. It was really a crazy, crazy thing. We did it. My husband had like a new office, and the whole building was like being built. And so I had an open call there because it was free.
Smart.
And
Very resourceful.
and the people like wound around the block. And then and
I know this is old days when you had to do everything in person. I know too.
Yeah, everything. And I just put it out in the newspaper or whatever. There was no Facebook to put it out. I put it out to the agents as I did. I knew all the talent agents. This was because I come from that world. And and so they're winding around the block. I'm trying to talk people into being neighbors in this movie, right? He had just come off of Batman, so he certainly had something behind him. And talking that, but you'd have to go and be on set 15-hour days, and I don't know what was the pay, $89 a day, which was, it's the 80s. So it was okay. But they'd have to commit to like 4 months of showing up whenever I wanted them to show up, which was complicated. And they wouldn't tell me, like, I'd drive up there 45 minutes every day to collect the list for the next day at 7 p.m. Get an ice cream cone because I was pregnant, and then come home and call these people and tell them, oh, you're on tomorrow. Which, I mean, truthfully, in retrospect, I would say, why wouldn't they just have them all come every day?
Yeah.
Because it nearly was that, right? And the difference would have been just stupid. Anyway, but yeah, so it was crazy, and I was pregnant and hot, and we got it done, and those people showed up, and it was real specific because if you're in a neighborhood and you're filming and a guy is mowing his lawn, that guy better be the same guy mowing his lawn the next day.
Yeah.
Right? Or coming out, like every person was attached to a house, and you really had to think about these things. And that stuff is complicated. And I think a lot of filmmakers don't think about that kind of minutia.
Right.
And I think
on those big shows, the assistant directors are just crackerjacks with all those details because it's so important for the continuity of the film.
Right. And that's not our detail as a casting director. I'm just giving you the people that you want. I have nothing on that. But it was wild. Tim was wild. That day at my husband's office, Tim's out in the hallway and my husband's asking him, "Who are you?" I mean, you can imagine what.
I love it. I love that.
He looks just like he looks, and
That's so great.
But yeah, Tim's the greatest guy. Johnny was the greatest guy. Winona, I had the most fun with Alan Arkin, Diane Wiest. I mean, Conchata
Great.
Farrell was in that.
Wow.
Um, Susan Blomart. And I was just talking with Susan, and with her people, giving her an offer on something. So, I mean, we have long relationships. We really do.
Um,
And we remember.
yes.
So,
This is
yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much, Rose, for that. And I look forward to you're on casting director for Big Moves and Gold Star and Western. Isn't that right, Kimberly? So I'm looking forward to working with you and Kimberly on that. Super excited about that. And thank you so much for sharing. Love
Of
all of that.
course.
And Kimberly, I wanted to touch base on you. You are a incredible. You've done blockbusters, Deep Impact, True Lies, The Pelican Brief, House of Cards. You co-directed Ring of Kibo, and you just played at cons. And you are amazing. And so, Kimberly, I wanted to ask you. You were a theater major growing up. And
Mhm.
is that how you got into be casting, or did you fall into it? Tell us, because I just love
Well,
your
totally
story.
by accident. I mean, fortunately, from being a theater major in college, I did have a friend who was a master's student at American University. Woo woo. And she said, in case I don't want the job, why don't you interview? And I did manage to organize getting an interview, and then they offered me the job. And so I worked at in Washington, D.C. I started my career at Central Casting for the first 3 years, and then I just kind of left to go work on something else. And here I am, 35 years later. This September will be 35 years and still casting, but did also branch out because I was helping and I love logistics and organizing and became a producer. And my favorite subject, actually, while I was a theater major, was my all of my directing courses. So I fortunately branched into film directing, which I do adore and love as well. Because for me, the biggest draw and interest in being a casting director was that collaboration with actors in the audition room and directing them and putting them on tape and doing all that type of thing. So it was great to collaborate with other directors. And if those directors were new and didn't really know how to direct the actors in the old days when we were in the room with them, you could have some input and help get exactly what the directors were looking for. So I learned a lot from some amazing producers that I worked with on all of those big shows, and also being able to observe the directors, spending a lot of time in Video Village, just watching how the director was working with the cinematographer. And, here we are, 35 years later. It still feels fresh and new. And I feel like it's because as a child, I love to create environments where play could happen, turning my bedroom into a boutique for my sister and her friends to shop in, or both of my sisters. And so I now get to do that and get paid for it. So, work is still play. So it doesn't feel like a job. It more feels like a lifestyle and an experience that is not for the faint of heart, I will say, but certainly is fun and I still enjoy it. And I can't imagine retiring because, as I always say, creativity never retires. So I'll be doing this until I can no longer lift up my phone to send an email or, answer a text. So
I love that. I love that. And Kimberly, I would love to learn about casting if you'd like to teach me. I know I had an attempt at it and I didn't do very good the first time, but if I could have another chance with you for you to teach me, I would just love that. I would so appreciate that. So please, if you
yeah,
can.
well, all that technology stuff, it's a lot to learn and facilitate if you're
A
not good
wild
at it.
set of
And I
skills.
certainly was a little slower to adapt to that because I'm very tactile. And it was, thank heavens to Rose, who was, this is how you do it.
Give me
The
that
the
computer.
crash course was great. I'm much better at it with all the tech.
I love it. I love that. So wonderful. And I did want to mention about casting directors. They are now in the Academy Awards. Let's talk about that. I want to know your opinion. And that being with Casting Confidential podcast, it's you're raising the level because you're not only bringing in actors and film professionals, but you also have the tips and trade secret sauce, I like to call it, that helps everyone. So let's talk about the Academy Awards because you're elevating Casting Confidential in your podcast, and they're elevating you at the Academy Awards. So, Rose, tell us about what you think about this. I want to hear it from you both. Rose, over to you first.
I mean, we have been working on this for, I don't know, 25 years. And so with the Academy, and finally we've closed that deal. And I'm gonna tell you, uh, we're still waiting to, are we gonna be on the part that's aired or not? Um, and honestly, I feel like there's a bigger deal made about the stunt performers that aren't going up till 2027. I don't feel, and I appreciate you mentioning that, but I don't feel like there is a lot of coverage. There was a bit when it first came out, but
Right.
we're in the season right now. We are literally voting on those properties right now. Um, and I'm glad to talk about it. I'm glad to talk about it anywhere because I think it's important. I think we should have always been recognized. I feel like we are the forgotten stepchild. It's like, I mean, I ask my friends, how often you getting a ball cap or a t-shirt or an invite to the wrap party or an invite to the premiere? It's like we're so front end and so integral,
Right.
um, whatever. And but they forget about us, you know. They just forget about us after the movie's
Well,
shot and
it's very
edited, and
much
it's like,
behind the scenes job, and although ironically it's not, in so much as we are
Right.
providing the people that are the
Yeah.
face of the film, but because they don't necessarily always see our face, and particularly not now that things are happening so
yeah,
much over tape,
you don't
Mhm.
that
see us. We're not on set.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
could show up on set and you
because
might not recognize us.
I certainly always was out of my just love of learning, so I was a little more known
But
and
if you're
typically
casting in China, you're not on
right.
set.
Yes. If things Romo as they are now, absolutely
Yeah,
that you wouldn't be necessarily
right.
So
attending.
what
And it
can
would be on our dime, right? Everybody else would get paid to show up on set. Nobody's going to pay us to show up on set because we have no work on set. I mean, that's fair. It's not, oh, let me just, fly the casting director to set just to meet the actors that we found.
so what can we do? What needs to change?
I think what we're doing is it. I think raising the consciousness of people about our profession
Yeah.
is it's been my lifelong pursuit, and I think we're coming real, this podcast really helps the whole thing. And the fact that we will be at the Oscars, whether or not we're on TV, doesn't matter. We all post about it. We all, celebrate casting because and talk about it and keep talking about casting directors, that we exist, that we do give jobs, that replacing us with AI is actually harder than replacing actors with AI.
Right. Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think we, the human touch of finding the actors,
Yes.
even if they're AI. Watch, we'll be casting AI people. It'd be so weird.
So so weird.
But yeah, I don't know. But I think
I mean,
just
I'll be curious to know a little bit more and have this conversation after the
Yeah.
Oscars have happened so we can see in this first pass how are
talk
they
again.
it part of the evening show or is it something that's awarded in advance? It will obviously be in the trades and that may get out into the mainstream media, but it'll be curious to see how it
It's just
unfolds because it is a
What
huge part of the business, certainly in the independent world. You'll often get the comment, well, we're trying to preserve as much money to, for on-screen items. And I remind the directors and producers that actors are the on-screen item, and I am helping you with that. So my role is really one of the on-screen roles that you should be allocating funds for.
I mean, I have to tell you, I'm happy that we are partnering this season with casting networks because they have a bigger bullhorn than I do.
Right.
Yeah.
what
And so, yes, so they are helping raise the consciousness that casting is important
yes.
right alongside of us.
Yeah.
And that's a good partnership. That's what I want. So yeah, I think that's the kind of things if, bigger companies, let's get,
Supporting.
Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
Breyer's ice
Yeah.
cream, I don't care. I'll mention as many companies as you want that can call me and
Support our
partner with
podcast.
us. to raise the level of casting, we will certainly entertain any of that. And it's good for the companies. I mean,
Yes.
we're a clean industry. We
Upstanding, professional, with standards, high
yeah,
standards and
yeah,
ethical. Yeah, right. Go
yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
No, it's good. You said it all.
Yeah. So it's about time. So let's go, the world, catch up and wake up and start realizing how important our casting directors, especially CSA casting directors. I do want to touch on that real quick. It's an achievement, isn't it? It is CSA. It's the official American Casting Society Association.
International.
Yeah, it has gone
International.
international now.
Oh,
Which is
wow.
why they are referring more to it as Casting Society as opposed to
Society.
Casting Society of America, although the CSA letters are still the ones that will appear in print.
And what did you have to, you had to do something to get that, isn't that right? That this
Oh,
is
so many hours, so many credits, so much. And it took them like 6 months to vet me before I was in. So it was a real big day when I got that email.
And
And
letters of recommendation from other
yeah,
members
which
or
is hard.
other
We
professionals who
didn't have friends back then because nobody would be your friend if you were a casting director and another casting director. That wasn't a thing. We have said,
so
screw
fortunate
that.
they didn't all have to be from casting directors, that you could have producers and directors who also felt that you had the ability. So
amazing, amazing. Thank you for that. And I value you both so very much. And so anything else you want to mention about Casting Confidential? You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're all over Spotify and iHeartRadio, everywhere you listen to
Apple
podcasts.
podcast, right? Too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Apple's probably our largest listenership.
Okay.
Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, I promise you, you can ask Alexa. I can't say it too loud because she will answer me. But you can ask Alexa to play any of the Casting Confidential episodes that you like, and she will do it for you. Also, Pandora. Pandora's a big get. There aren't a lot of podcasts on Pandora, like ours. So yeah, so I'm very excited. We do a lot of things. So, and I just started like a Patreon where we're going to be doing more Q&As and stuff like that. I even told Kimberly about it, but she's excited, I promise you. And
That is awesome.
that's the greatest thing about the group. It's like I'm
Congratulations.
like some kind of mad scientist sometimes when it comes to thinking about things like in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh, I gotta do a Patreon. Yes.
Yes, yes, that's a big thing. There's also you could advertise on Cameo. I think is it called Cameo or something like that?
Oh my God, we can do the
Oh my
Casting
gosh, how
Confidential
funny.
cameo
Yeah.
people.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. We'll do that. And we have a monthly membership where you could come and get feedback, which is amazing. That's $30 a month. That's insane to not do that if you're an actor. And you
Oh,
come in once a month. Also, you can, come and watch our live shows. Danielle Pinnock is coming on.
woohoo.
And
This is
yeah,
great.
so it's exciting. And yeah,
And this
we've
is your
got the
third
membership,
season.
the Patreon, the blah, blah, blah. We're partnering with great companies like Casting Networks, Write Positive Films. She's a great acting coach and filmmaker. And once again, female driven. Love her, Shamika Wright.
Yeah.
And Kimberly Skyrme has this wonderful the
The guy.
shirtless.
Uh-huh.
Did I say it
Based on
right?
Michael Shirtliff's 12 Guideposts.
Yes.
I always want to take off my shirt when I talk about this. But
Not
the
shirtless,
guidepost, she
but
does this great class. I've seen her students many times and they're wonderful. So yeah, so I know there's some codes you can give for Casting Confidential listeners and your listeners, AJ. We have a code confidential at castingnetworks.com /confidential. You get $65 off an annual membership. Um, and Kimberly, what kind of a code do you have?
in
Mention
the
the
show notes, if you
podcast.
put my email,
Yeah. Yeah. Mention the podcast and she'll
creative
give you a
email,
deal.
if you
What do you
mention the
got?
podcast, you get a discount.
A
Okay,
dis
could you repeat that one more time, Kimberly?
Kimberly Skyrme Creative Series at gmail.com. You can
Kimberly Creative Series.
Kimberly Skyrme
Kimberly Skyrme
Kimberly
Creative
Skyrme.
Series at gmail.com.
Great. I think 3 times is
You'll,
good. I love the number 3. We said it 3 times. That's perfect.
and you'll drop it in the show notes.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll do a link to your YouTube in the show notes and both of your Facebook contacts. And Rose, how can they get a hold of you? You're on Instagram and Facebook, right?
Yeah, Instagram is, comment on my posts on Instagram and you will catch my attention. If you send me an email, that's, I want to be an actor, it's not going to work. I coach, I do the listen to the podcast, set up a coaching session. That's a link in my links in my Instagram, my link tree. Yeah, do all of that and you know,
And how do we
come
get
and be with us. Come and do the membership. I don't mean to hawk things, but here's the thing. We give out all the free information on the podcast, on the YouTube, on the Instagram. And so if you need specialized one-on-one, which a lot of people do, we're happy to do it. Kimberly will do it. I'll do it. Robin will do it. I think Cheryl does it. So
That monthly session, you get to bring work and we give you notes on it. So
oh, it's so
you
wonderful.
work in the adjustments. So you're just getting good at taking notes and making adjustments and doing an additional
Yeah.
performance.
this
And
is so
follow the
great.
Instagram because we're gonna start doing some more raffles to be on the show.
Okay.
So
And this is great because, excuse me, how often do you get a chance to talk with and ask a casting director, a CSA casting director, a question? It's very rare.
very rare.
You don't get to bump into you at the grocery store or at the
Oh,
stationery
they
store,
have.
Well,
right?
and not in the
This
room anymore.
happened.
At least before, there could be some purposeful communication in the room that you could be asking some questions that were relevant to the audition or maybe upcoming things
Right.
or an event that
Oh
was
my
going to be
God.
happening, but we're not in the room with anybody anymore. So that opportunity to just have a conversation
But when
really does.
people would come up to me in the grocery store and then say, "Oh, my baby," I mean, God
Oh,
bless.
really?
I mean, for my
I
entire
bet when she was
career,
working on Scissorhands, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of public private. I try and be a ghost when I was in the room. I did a very good job of it. Literally, if you come in the room and they'd look at me and they'd say, "Are you Rose?" and I'd say, "No, I'm Molly." I would just be the assistant because I didn't want I'm just
yeah.
shopping for groceries. I don't want an hour conversation with a parent of a child, which I adore the children.
But that's
Just
not the
want to
way. That's not the
Right.
way
I
to
just
go
want to
about it.
buy my watermelon and get out of there.
Right. Me too. How about you, Kimberly?
Well,
She's gonna stand there and talk to you. I guarantee you she's not gonna complain. I am the one that is all, oh, I don't want to do that. So yeah, look, she's nicer than me, but no, whatever. I try and I
she taught
am
us a valuable
nice. I
lesson.
swear to God.
We don't get paid for maybe. We get paid for yes or no.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah,
I
and
want
the
to,
long conversation with the parents, unfortunately, doesn't go very far. Oh, here I have this baby. What could I do to get into? And they never, never follow whatever it is I'm telling them at the grocery store. But if you call me and you coach with me, you're going to follow what I tell you to do.
yes, absolutely.
And that's the difference is spending my time it's the difference of you making a commitment
Right.
and yeah and that's and we see that when you show up into a casting we see your commitment it is clear as a bell when you walk in the room
Yes,
when
yes.
we see a self tape we know whether or not you're committed whether or not you'll show up that's what came into our head years ago of looking at people over and over I can tell you immediately whether or not somebody will flake or not.
Yes.
Is that right?
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was energy that you could tell, and depending how prepared they are and the choices available
But you
and
could still
following
get
the
that
directions
energy.
in a self-tape, that it does say a lot about you.
I
So
think so.
Very, very much so. And I love that. And I did want to, Rose, you touched on a wonderful thing. Kimberly does classes, and I want to promote Kimberly in that way. I have done her in and out, inside out class, which is wonderful, and I recommend that. And then you also have the Michael Shirtliff, and I know you sent me a few weeks ago the promo. Could you send it to me again? I want to promote that on because I'm not sure if it's updated or if I've missed it. So please go ahead and send that, and I'm going to promote you on my LinkedIn and Facebook, and we'll get that out there so people can. Is it coming up, Kimberly? Can you tell us a
Yes.
little bit about it?
Yes, we are starting another cycle. So it is a very intensive course, not in a bad way, more in a supportive, work really hard way. It is a 16-week course. So there is 12 guideposts that we cover. We spend the first week selecting scenes that are great for you and your scene partner. It is also very personalized, so it's just the two scene partners in a class. So everything we're doing as we discuss each guidepost, it's very specifically in reference to the character you're playing and the scene. And then the last 3 weeks of the 16 weeks is performing for directors, casting directors like Rose, and potentially talent managers, depending what is the best fit or that the scene partners actually need. I'll make that happen. And it's been wonderful is you can take it several times too, working different scenes and spending all of that time with the scene, and then having the opportunity to perform for the same director, same casting director. They're also seeing your growth over the cycles that you've been taking the course.
She
So
does a great job.
deep dive.
It's her
Yes, you
students
do.
are wonderful.
You are. You both are. And thank you so much. Okay, well, I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to start wrapping this show up, but you both have been so lovely. You're just absolutely lovely ladies, and I've enjoyed talking with you so much. I'm going to ask you if there's anything else you want to promote, any other shout outs or acknowledgments, and then we're going to do our, you know what it is, because this is my trademark, this is my signature. And we're going to do our heart message because, again, it's all about the heart. And, we're doing life this one time. We're all doing it, we're all learning. And that's why I always try to give grace. And I also ask for grace for those if I've ever offended anybody. But we're going to go over to you, Rose, and ask you, do you have any acknowledgments? Do you have any thank yous? Anything else you want to promote?
I think we've promoted everything I can imagine. I just subscribe, like, share, please, to all of the things. Just hit follow. You don't have to spend a dime. Just hit follow, 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 like, rate, review, 5 stars. Subscribe on that YouTube channel. Do all the things because it makes a huge difference. And yeah, and we love our sponsors, so support them too.
Support them too. And Kimberly, is there anything you wanted to acknowledge, say thank you, or promote?
Well, a couple of thank yous. Thank you to Rose for having me on Casting Confidential and being able to join her in the podcast today. Thank you for interviewing us and sharing what we're doing with the world. And thank you to the listeners, because obviously, if people are not tuning in, that doesn't really help us and doesn't help our sponsors. But I think an important note in this business, I feel confident that if you can proceed in life and treat others as you wish to be treated, that is going to come back to you tenfold. And I
Are you
do
sure
try to
about
do
that?
that always. Pardon?
I just went in with, are you sure about
Well,
That's an
actually, I
inside joke I can't
suppose
discuss.
now that you say that, maybe that isn't great. Because if people treat people the way, yeah, that might not be right. But be
God.
kind and I think give grace, as we talked about. We work in a very rigorous business. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for sure a marathon and not a sprint. So pace yourself and love what you do and lead with that love and joy. And to the actors listening, when in doubt, always be curious. That will make you a better actor. It will make you a better researcher
I
and
love the
better
curiosity.
storyteller. Yes. So go forward,
Yeah.
be creative and curious.
And love to storytell your stories.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you, Rose. And Rose, what is your heart message for the world that what do they need to hear?
Um, I just think your goodness shows through you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And whether you're an actor or any other profession, any other person, we see your goodness. And I think just being you and projecting your goodness is the way into other people's hearts.
Mhm.
Cheers to that. Cheers
Thank
to
you.
you. I absolutely
No, thank you
love
for
that.
having us. We loved
Oh,
it.
thank you. And Kimberly, what is your heart message? I just want, I'm so excited to hear what both of you say.
Which again, it goes back to being kind. I think if we lead with kindness always, that and another heart message that I love that I heard this and I like to lead my life this way is you are who you are when no one's looking. So if you start to pay attention to that and you see garbage on the ground and you pick up the garbage, you're not picking up the garbage for others to see you and see that you're doing that, but you're doing it because it's the right thing to do and to to be a person also that when you're not in the room, favorable things are being said about you because
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have
yeah.
always had kindness.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
big. That's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a direct result that I received a note recently from someone who met someone, and I had never met the person, but they were so busy raving about me as a human being because of what someone else told them.
Oh,
So
that,
Hmm.
that was again nice that secondhand even joy about who I was and how I was helping someone. But it was again out of being kind and helpful and doing things for others
I
that
love that.
when
Well,
I wasn't in a room, I was being talked about favorably, which what better
And
compliment?
Lucy Lennox talked about that on her episode. Make sure you're being talked kindly about in rooms that your
Rooms that
feet
you're
have
not in.
never hit the floor.
Yes, yes. And well, I rave about you both because you're both spectacular and beautiful, and you have lovely hearts. And I just admire and respect you so, so much. So if there's anything ever I can do for you, please let me know. Please reach out. I'm here to support you. I love you both, and I'm so proud of you. And I'm so excited for Casting Confidential season 3. Woohoo!
I know. Woohoo!
I know it is over
Tune
the
in. We
top.
have some great interviews coming.
I want to hear how the listeners, please drop your comments. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. I'm in it for all of it. So, I promise you're gonna like
Yes.
it
You can't fix something if you don't know it's broken. So yeah, share your comments, good and
though. Oh,
bad.
yeah, we love it. We love it. All
Absolutely,
right.
100%. Well, thank you again, and until next time, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks. We will see you soon.
Bye-bye for
Bye-bye.
now.